typically the first milestone that we have with clients is, do they add when they add their first $10,000 using our systems, and we would get about, maybe 3 to 4 a month, in the first couple months of the year. Now we'll get like 5 to 6 a week, sometimes
Damn.
10 plus a week.
But man, it's been a long time since we talked to each other last. How's life been? How's business?
Business has been really good.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Um, yeah, the last few months, it's been really good. Um, especially from the impact that we've been able to make. We have since we last spoke, we've rolled out a handful of new services, brought on a few new key team members. Um, and it's funny, like, you look at the first few couple months of the year. Um, typically the first milestone that we have with clients is, do they add when they add their first $10,000 using our systems, and we would get about, maybe 3 to 4 a month, in the first couple months of the year. Now we'll get like 5 to 6 a week, sometimes
Damn.
10 plus a week. And just like regularly we'll have people, hey, close 10K today, hey, close 15K today, and all that kind of stuff. So
Oh man.
that's
So
that's what I'm most kind of happy with over the last little bit.
yeah. Yeah, so I think I need to back up a little bit because I was under the impression that and this is the best part about me podcasting is because I know like we and I have talked, but I haven't caught up with you for a minute.
Yeah.
So last time you were real heavy just in the coaching program, and then I had thought that part had stopped and you went in to do Catalyst Holdings, and that became basically like a private equity is kind of what it feels like,
Yeah.
but you're handling the marketing side.
Yeah. So Catalyst Holdings is, at its core, we're an agency.
Okay.
So we have a complete kind of service offering, because one of the things that I learned early is that if you just do one thing for clients, it's very hard to get them results, right? Like if you just build them a really good offer, but they don't know how to generate leads or close the leads or service their clients, they're fucked, right? If
Yeah,
you don't know
yeah.
how to, or if you just get them, if like you just run ads for clients, but they have a bad offer and they don't know how to close, they still won't get results. So now what people will do is when they first, when they sign up with us, the first thing I will do is I will personally go in there and I'll build out their offer, right? That's the highest leverage point in the business. So I will personally build out their offer. And then depending on the type of business that they run, the stage that they're at, the amount of capital that they have, we'll either set up a cold email system for them, or we'll
Okay.
set up a done for you paid ads funnel for them as well. Or if it makes sense, we'll do both. And so essentially the premise is like, hey, we'll get you a whole bunch of leads and appointments, and then we'll consult with you on how to close those appointments, right?
Mm,
And
okay.
so all of the marketing and lead generation is now done for you. We obviously don't take sales calls for our clients. However, once they have added 30K or have consistently hit about $30,000 a month, and have what's called proven product market fit, and if they push over $100,000 on their offer, we can actually go and place a closer for them as well. And
Okay.
then the play that we have is our most successful clients. We, move them into a equity position and whatnot. And, that is really the portfolio of B2B companies that we're building.
Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, it seems like every time that I see a new website come from you, it's a whole bunch of lessons from the last models added
Yeah.
into a new model with a new name, and now this is kinda where you landed. Like, with all the evolution of this, like, how do you manage to keep going? Like, you don't know a lot about what I've done the last couple years, or really since we last talked, which is I think it's only been 8 or 9 months or so. Um, but one thing that I really struggled with is, like, with these online models, there is so much change happening all the time. And to keep up with that, like, it feels like just keeping up with the trends is a job on its own. So how do you know when to make the next move? Like, do you let the data tell you? Do you let the sales tell you? How do you make decisions like that?
So people that don't know too much about me or have kind of watched me from the sidelines for the last 6, 7 years of my life, they assume or they think like, oh, he's had to start like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 companies or whatever the case may be. Right. And, sometimes people will meet up with me and they'll be like, hey, how's Wilson Media doing? And I'm like, I haven't signed a Wilson Media client in like 3 years. Right. Now, realistically, what it's always been from day one, at least with the path that I've taken, is you just gather new bits of information. You try something new, it works, it solves the previous problem that you were facing, and so you just do more of that,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And so originally, like, I got into this game because I just didn't want to go to school, right? And I was a videographer. Like, I liked making videos. So I was like, okay, I'll make videos for businesses and I'll make 3, 4, 5 grand a month, and then I won't have to go to school. Perfect. Right. And then the businesses were like, hey, well, could you manage our social medias too? I was like, sure. Right. And then it was like, hey, could you build us a website? Hey, could you run Facebook ads? Right. And then that's how I ended up building Wilson Media, which it was really just me networking in person, working with companies that were in a 30-mile radius of where I lived and just saying yes to every opportunity. And then I ran into the problem where I had serviced over 200 clients, charging all sorts of different prices on all sorts of different service deliveries with no systems and no nothing. And then I had all these problems come up, right? And
Mhm.
then from there, I was like, okay, my life is miserable. Yes, I'm making decent money for an 18, 19-year-old. But like one, I'm like at a real estate shoot. And then like as the realtor steps out into the room, I'm getting a call from a restaurant about their Google Ads campaign. Like that was my life. Right, I
Yeah,
was like, "Okay, this
miserable.
is doesn't work," right? And so then I
Yeah.
discovered the power of niching down one niche, one offer, right?
Okay.
And so then that's when I first got into the agency space as well. And then basically since then, I've been in the more or less of the traditional agency space. Um, I've had a couple of agencies that I've started, that I've worked on and whatnot. I've worked with a couple partners over the last couple of years as well. I had a 6 to 12 month period where I did do, some coaching as well. The thing that I struggle with within the coaching is the niche that I kind of focused on was get your first client, hit your first 10K a month.
Yeah.
Where now, like we have everywhere on our funnel, don't even think about applying and working with us unless you're doing at least 10K a month.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough lesson to learn, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, I went through a similar thing actually just recently. I've been producing podcasts for people for the last few months,
Mhm.
about the last 6 months or so. And I had a wait list. Actually, I still have a wait list. And I was like, "Do you know what I can do? I can capitalize on this wait list and let's go teach them how to get set up for themselves, get their first 1,000 downloads, and then when they hit that, at least I know that they're competent enough to do that. I can bring them on, there'll be less headaches." Sounds great in theory.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed in the first 2 weeks, I brought on 2 coaching clients just to try it. I noticed in 2 weeks, I was like, "Oh my god, I can't do this. I hate hand-holding." This
Yeah.
like, I don't it's not that I don't like the stupid questions, it's that I fucking hate the stupid questions, and I don't have the patience for it. So, it sounds like what you've figured out and I mean, what all the greats are saying, the Alex Hormozis, the Chris Williamsons, all of them is niche down, pick an offer, and then when you're presented with a problem, focus on that problem, and that's kind of the next move. It doesn't really sound like the agency space you picked, it sounds like the agency space picked you.
Yeah. Like I tell this story regularly, but I was making about 15 to 20 grand per month when I discovered what SMMA was.
Oh, okay. Okay, and SMMA isn't really a new model. Like, even
Yeah.
when it first got popular in probably 2015
Yeah.
or so, like, the agency space has been around for a long time. Even before the internet, there was ad agencies.
Yeah. Yeah, like
S
I didn't even discover who Iman Ghazi was, right? Like I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about it. Like I knew Gary Vee
Yeah,
and I knew he had like VaynerMedia and he did like $100 million a year and I was like, okay, there's other people that advertise for companies and make money, so yeah,
yeah,
I didn't know like SMMA or anything like that.
yeah. It was just a way for you to not go to school.
Yeah. That's
So
originally why I started this.
so do you think, as you've gotten a little bit older, Do you still have the same thoughts on, like, traditional education as you did before?
Um, as in thoughts in traditional education, as in like how important it is.
Yeah. Yeah, like, do you think it's a requirement of success?
Oh, obviously not. Like
Why?
most of this, like of the people that I know that make any form of decent money, like none of them went to school. At least that are like my age, right? And like I know a lot of people my age that are like went to school for like several years and they're not like they're doing okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. What
like,
do you think that
yeah.
is? Like, why do you think the people that take that educational route don't seem to make the money that guys like you make or guys like your circle make?
Um, I think what it is, and I don't know if many people talk about this, but like there's certain processes in our company. And we run a, our company does a couple $1,000,000 a year. Okay. Most companies that you go and work for after getting a master's degree do make more money than our company makes. Right?
Sure.
Law firms, whatever the case may be. So our company is relatively small, do a couple $1,000,000 a year. And there is many, 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 many things in our company that has been so systemized and so like dialed. Where
Mm.
like if you have half a brain, we just need somebody to like execute the system, right? We just need somebody to follow the system. We even have AI that does a whole bunch of work now too. Just put
Yeah.
this prompt into ChatGPT, copy that, upload it. That's all you have to do, right? And so if I know that a monkey could do this system, right? Like I'm not going to pay somebody a ridiculous amount of money to do it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Like for me, it's like, if we have a system that's something that's been very systemized,
Yeah.
right? And I know because of how systemized and how simplified we've invested that time and money up front to make, we can get somebody for 15 bucks an hour to do an amazing job with it. It makes the most sense for a company to get something for 15 bucks an hour to do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I don't like I don't have strong beliefs because I genuinely don't even think about traditional education. Like it's just such an afterthought. Like nobody that I interact with ever like really went to school, so like I never
Mm.
really think about it. Um, but my guess is that, these people that go to school, they're kind of trained on follow the system, follow the SOP, all that kind of stuff. So then they get put into these jobs, these highly systemized jobs, where the companies know that they don't need to pay a lot of money to get the job done because it's been so systemized and anybody can follow them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas the jobs that get paid high level amounts of money are the jobs that can't be systemized, right? Now, because they can't be systemized, they typically don't teach them in school.
Because it can't really be taught.
Because they can't really be taught. There's just something that you learn from real life experiences, selling, marketing, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's all these skills that people learn that don't go to school, which end up being the most valuable skills because of the supply and demand and because those skills can't really be systemized. Like I was watching this Hormozy video today where he talks about the difference between a good marketer and a bad marketer can be like like millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars generated for that company.
Yeah.
Right? But the difference between a good CSM and a bad CSM might be 5%,
Yeah.
right? Now, you don't learn Dan Kennedy marketing, how to create a sales funnel in school. You learn customer success related things in business administration courses in school. And that's my guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. I think to add on to that too, I have a couple friends that are just about to finish their master's degrees. And what I've noticed with them over the course of their education, is that it seems like anytime they get close to finishing, they're almost tempted by other things.
Mhm.
And there's nobody guiding them saying, "Hey, actually, we need to stay on this course because then it will lead to X, Y, and Z. It seems like every time they get close to the finish line, they have a friend or a professor or something else that's like, well, if you come here for a couple more years, like then you can go do this thing. And it's like, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. You started because you wanted to go into business, and now you're going a master's degree in, I don't know, AI. Like what happened here? Did you get sold on something that's not possible?
Yeah.
And there's just such a lack of kind of what you were saying, like free thinking, where like follow this to get this, and they get out in the real world and like, oh shit, what do I do? Like,
Yeah.
I don't have a system to follow.
Yeah.
Where in business, if you drop out, and I did that myself, I dropped out of high school and immediately started businesses and tried different jobs to learn. And what you learn from that is like how to rely on yourself.
Yeah.
You pick up patterns from other people, you learn how to like manage a budget. And like I don't know about you, but I was living on my own really young. I knew if I didn't make a apartment payment, I didn't have an apartment.
Yeah.
You know? And if you don't have that hustle from a young age, like, it's really hard to develop it later. And it seems like you've developed that too. So what was, like, your first, I don't know, step into business?
Uh, Lemonade stands and stuff growing up, and
Really?
then when I was about 13, 14, I started a company, well, not really a company, I started an Instagram account called Dylan's Fly and Tackle, and I
Okay,
basically made, like, fishing lures because I was, like,
okay.
huge into fishing, and so I would make, like, fishing flies and fishing lures, and then I would post them, and then I would go fishing, like, once a week, and I would use them, and then I would, like, post those to Instagram as well, and then I would sell to my followers,
Okay,
right? So
smart.
I'd basically, like, make a fly, then I would, like, go to the pond, I would, like, fly fish for an afternoon, I would catch, like, 7 fish with it, and I'd be like, "Hey, here's what I caught today. This is the fly I used.
Brilliant.
DM me and I'll make it for you." And then I would ship them out to people, you know, in Canada, US.
Brilliant. So simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
D
And then I did that for probably about a year or 2, and then I really got serious with my hockey.
Oh, okay.
And then so I didn't r I probably took about a 2 to 3 year break from anything business related, and then I got back, in my last year of hockey, I started some e-commerce stores, and then those did okay, make a couple grand a month off those e-com stores, and then I basically woke up one day and was like, "What am I doing?"
Mm.
Like, it was just like Alibaba scam, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
found something on AliExpress for
yeah.
$6, sell it for 60, like, you know, um, and then I shut down those stores, started a Fiverr account,
Oh, yep,
and
yep.
was, like, editing for people on Fiverr, eventually made up
Okay.
enough money, bought my first, video camera from there, started doing
Gotcha.
videography and, you know
So it's been like a lifelong journey.
Yeah. Yeah, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, I actually retook math, like, 4 or 5 times in high school
I
so
did
I could
too.
get the grades to go to business school, which I got
Okay.
into because I thought that that's what I needed to become an entrepreneur, and
Mhm.
then it was in my first semester when I realized that well, actually what happened is one day, like, kinda like the final straw moment was I was sitting in class, there's, like, 400 people in this, like, huge lecture hall, right? And the teacher's like, "We're gonna talk about entrepreneurship today. Who here wants to be an entrepreneur?" And I raised my hand, and I was the only one in the entire lecture hall with my hand up in the air. And that was when
Whoa.
I was like, "I'm probably in the wrong spot here," and I don't really think I attended any classes since then.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, why were you all there? Why was everybody
They
else
all wanted to
there?
go into, like, finance or accountants or international
Oh.
business or whatever that case may be.
Oh, that's so wild to me because, I have these moments where I'll find myself in the room with people
Yeah.
and, like, I'll start talking about, I don't know, some technical thing with marketing or, like, hiring somebody or, like, how I'm handling this issue, and you just kinda watch their eyes glaze over. Like, they simply just cannot relate. And
Yeah.
for the longest time, I thought it was the normal thing. Like, okay, you work a job, you figure out what you wanna do, maybe you go to school, maybe you don't, but then you start a business. That's what everybody does. And the
Yeah.
older I get, the more I see how rare it is that people just settle into these boring, easy lives and
Yeah.
never
No,
do
definitely.
anything with it. And then I have those moments too where it's like, shit, I am alone in this room right now. I'm in a room full of people completely alone.
Yeah. No,
So
for sure.
how do you put yourself in the right rooms? Like, what's the trick to that?
I think if you're good enough for a long enough period of time, you'll get noticed. And I know
Expand
that
on
sounds
that.
like interesting, but I asked that question to myself, that same question that you just asked me. I asked that question to myself for like a long time because like I had made my first 50, 60, $70,000 in a month. And the only friends that I hung out with or knew were making minimum wage.
Okay. That goes against like everything, but I hear what you're saying.
And so at least in my case, it was just like I started a business, within about a year or 2, I was making about 20K per month. Did that for like 2 years. Eventually learned beat the next boss, learned how to properly
Hmm.
price my services, do value-based pricing instead of service-based pricing. Quickly went to that 50, 60, 70K per month. And then just like eventually at that point, I just naturally started to cross paths with people. Right? But I lived like I grew up about 50 minutes to an hour away from where I live right now,
Okay.
about 26 miles, 42 kilometers. Um, and like nobody my age was in business, or if they were in business, like I remember last year I was at like this party. Um, one of my girlfriend's best friends had this like party, and this guy, and at the time I was doing like, you know, I was probably doing like 50, 60K per month. And this guy comes up to me and he like had heard from like my girlfriend's best friends that like I was in business too. And like he was in business. He like comes up to me and he like, he's like talking business to me and he's like trying to like impress me and he's like big fishing me and like how much money he makes and all that kind of stuff. And he's
Uh,
doing like 8K a month, like top line revenue. Right?
uh-huh.
And I didn't tell him how much I was making. I didn't tell him much about what I was doing. Right? But that was like somebody making 8K a month in business, like where I grew up, was like, "Holy shit, like this guy's
Yeah.
cracked the code."
Yeah.
Right? And so the thing is with me is just like, I just kept building, I kept working, I kept building, and then eventually like I started to get noticed, not really even noticed, but like I just started to like meet people and they were like, "Oh, like no, like I do want to hang out with you again. Like make like are you going to be free on Sunday? Like I would love to connect and learn more about what you're doing."
Yeah.
Where, like, when you're just kinda starting off, you're like, "Oh, you're kinda cool, like, maybe we'll chat again." And then, like, once people realized that I was, like, actually doing stuff, they would like, "No, no, 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 like, are you free this Sunday? Like, I want you to come over to my place." And that was how
That
I started to meet these higher level people.
that makes that you have to, like, earn the right.
Yeah.
You have to so when I was first getting, into music, when I first turned 21, I became a DJ, and I learned very, very quickly that in order for me to get booked at the best clubs in the best venues, I had to
Mhm.
be there every night that they were open. I had to
Yeah.
prove that I was willing to put into work, buy the bottles, do the things to
Yeah.
be there, and basically what you're saying is the exact same thing. Back it up with action, with massive
Yeah.
amounts of action, be where those people are, and eventually, you'll be invited to do the thing. But
Yeah. Like,
you
at the end
have
of the
to
day,
earn it.
if you wanna hang out with quote unquote, we'll call them high value people.
Yeah,
That's such a cliche, cringe word, but, like, you get the point. You
yeah,
have to provide them value. Right, and so option A is to, like, work for free or, like, provide them value there. Now, I didn't have any interest in doing that because I was building my own company.
yeah,
So, just the way it naturally happened to me is I just kept working on myself and working on my company to the point where I could provide value to other high-level entrepreneurs just by hanging out with them.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Do you think you have to go as drastic as, like, cutting out the friends that
No,
aren't
I think,
on the
like,
same
no.
level?
Like, literally, I go to the bar and drink beers and, like, hang out and watch hockey games with my high school friends that make just over minimum wage. I have done it my entire entrepreneurial journey.
What do you think that is? Like, why can you do it and everybody else is saying that's bullshit?
I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know, and this is something that, like, I talk about with our clients and stuff all the time because 'cause they'll ask me
Mhm.
that same question, and I'm like, "You can," but it's like, I didn't, and I just think it's like, maybe it's just these people like, some people, like, really lack self-control, and so it's like, if they see like or it's like, if they drink, they can't get up and work the next day,
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
but, like, for me, it's like, I can go out to the bar, have a few drinks with my buddies, stay up late. You know, maybe I sleep in an extra 1 or 2 hours on a Saturday, but then I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not gonna cut that out part of my life because that's probably the most enjoyable part of my entire week.
Fair enough.
Like, I
Fair enough.
love those moments, right?
Yeah. And to cut them out seems extreme. But I do think people are easily influenceable. I know like I have a lot of friends um that refuse to do certain things because some of their other friends don't agree. And I'm like, "Wait, you can't disagree with some of your friends?" And like, "Well, it's not that I can't, just I don't wanna rock the boat because, kind of post-COVID, it's all we have. All we
Yeah.
have of our close people, and they're so afraid to be different." Um, Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and I mean, the other thing is too is like, I'm not easily influenced by other people, like, that is one thing about me. So it's like, if my friends wanna do something and I don't wanna do it, like, I'll just be like, "No, I'm not doing that. Like, that's stupid."
What grounds you?
What do you mean?
What makes you say, like, "Nah, I don't wanna do that?"
I think I'm just good at or I don't know if the word's good, but I just have no like, I just do what I wanna do, always. Maybe I'm just super selfish.
I mean,
Like,
I think it's the opposite, really, but
I mean, but it's like, if my friends are like, "Hey, we're gonna go out for Chinese food." Like, I hate Chinese food, so I'm like, "No, I'm not coming with you guys. If you guys wanna go get pizza, I'll come with you guys, but I'm not gonna get Chinese food, I don't like it." Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah. So many people would be like, "Ah, I'll find something on the menu that I like."
yeah. Now, that isn't like a real life example, like,
Yeah, I get
that
what
was
you're
just a
trying to
completely
say.
made up example, like, that situation has never happened.
Yeah.
Um, that's just my like, that's just the point that I'll make.
Yeah, and it kinda sounds like people treat you as such. I just heard a quote that was, "You teach people how to treat you." So, my
Yeah,
guess would be through all of your friends and your family and all that, that they know exactly what you're gonna do and what you're not gonna do.
yeah,
So if homies are going out to Chinese food, guess who's not getting a text message?
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Um, and you're just okay with being with yourself, which again, I think is another huge problem that a lot of, um, a lot of people that are trying to get into business face. They have such a problem being the black sheep.
Yeah, and that's something that's, I'd never had a problem with, like, to the point where I remember, like, in high school, it used to actually I'm still with this girl today, but, I started dating my girlfriend in grade 10, and in high school, I used to drive her crazy sometimes because we used to have these, like, spirited days at school,
Mhm.
right? Where it would be like, all the grade 10s would have to wear black because 'cause we'd have, like, spirit day and our school colors were, like, white, black, and red. I would show up in, like, a blue shirt that day, right? I wouldn't dress up for Halloween,
Yeah.
right? Like, I have it's funny, I have 2 cowboy hats in my closet right now. I will never wear them to a country bar, but you best believe, like, some random night out at the bar, I'll throw on the cowboy hat.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. I hear you. And do you think that's like an attention thing or you just do you when you wanna do it?
I just don't like I don't like doing what other people are doing. Um, and it was weird, like, when I moved downtown and, like, everybody that I'm surrounded with has Mercedes, Audi R8s, Porsches, you know, Lamborghinis for like, everybody in my circle has that, right?
Mhm.
When I got ingrained in this kinda culture and whatnot, I went and traded my BMW in for a Ford.
I like it. I like it. Do you I mean, there's a pattern to that, right? And it's proving you well. So why go against it?
Yeah, I don't see any reason to, and it's just something that, like, I've always done. It's just naturally been what I've always
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Now, something I will say that you do, at least that I've heard of you talk about in your videos, and you work with the optability guys.
Optimability,
Um,
yeah.
thank you. Um, like something that has been important to you, and you've been an athlete, like is your physical health. Do you think
Mhm.
that plays a role in your ability to conduct business?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I was actually talking to a client today who said one of the reasons he worked with us is because he found out that I did a 100K ultra, and he's training for one, like, that's a bucket list thing for him to do. And he's like, "Oh, if this guy's done a 100K ultra, like, he's the kind of person that I wanna work with."
What's a 100K ultra?
Like a 100-kilometer run.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
That's what you do for fun?
Well, I've only done it once.
Okay, but but what is that connection to business? Like, why are those 2 things connected?
Uh, there's 2 things to it, like, one is the mental side of it, right? Like, if you can run 100 kilometers and climb 21,000 feet in the process, like, it does take a good amount of mental grit and whatnot that
Yeah,
applies to business, because business is just one big mental game. And then the second side of it is like, if I show up to a call and I'm wearing a t-shirt and people can tell that, like, I'm in shape, it's like they're like, "Okay, this guy's takes care of himself. He's got a good physique, like, he's probably gonna take care of me too."
so it's like it's a trust builder.
Yeah, like, like, that's something that we've really taken seriously, like, at our team as well too, like, especially anybody in a client-facing role, like, we probably wouldn't hire somebody unless they would really have to make up for it for us to hire somebody that doesn't meet the eyeball test if they're in any form of a customer facing role or really on the team, because it's like, eh, you call it harsh, but I think it's the harsh truth. People do make that judgment,
I do. I totally agree.
right? Like, extreme example, you hop on a sales call and the sales rep that's speaking to you is 300 pounds, right? And he's overweight and he's like, in his chair and whatnot. It's like, you're probably not going to want to work with the company, right? If you jump on a call and the guy's clean cut, you can tell he's got biceps ripping through his shirt and he's confident. You're like, oh, these guys are legit.
Yeah, it's at least a much better impression.
Yeah.
Like, I still think ooh, I'm not sure if I want your opinion on this. I still think both people have equal chances of closing, but the guy who's in great shape, who looks good, has to work a lot less hard for it, is gonna have less objections, is gonna get less I have to think about it.
Yeah, they both can close.
Yeah.
But
I
if everything else was the same, I think the guy in better shape would close more.
yeah. Yeah, if
Like, if they had the
everything else
same
were the same.
objection, the same script, the same offer, the same objection overcomes.
Yeah. Yeah, then the guy yeah, you're I think you're right.
Like,
7 times out of 10.
on the extreme example, there's guys that we know that just hire, like, super hot chicks to take closing calls for them, and they close more.
I have partaked in this practice, and it works very well. Even just
Yeah,
females on the phone close better
I know.
than dudes do. It just
Same
it's
script, same
yeah,
objection overcomes.
yeah, yeah, every single time, it's true. It's totally true. I wanna get back to this physical health thing because it's something that's not talked about enough. I think we see it a lot with the Alex Hormozis and, like, Chris Williamson just started doing his, gym sessions with guests before they go on the podcast and things like that. There there's some secret to working out and doing something incredibly difficult and running your business, and I think it's more than just a mental game. I think it's just doing something hard, period, that maybe you don't even like to do. Like, I will be the first to say, I hate the gym. I go to the gym. I hate it. I hate that place. But I feel so much better after it, not because of the pump that I got, but more so because I did something that I hated doing.
Mhm.
And I think like, when I get up in the morning on prospecting days and need to, I don't know, maybe put together a cold calling list or whatever, it wasn't as hard as me going to the gym this morning. So, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
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 So how what are some, like, practical tips for maybe guys that have hit that first 10K? Something I wanted to bring up too is I have a few friends that are in their beginning phases, and they have sacrificed their physical health just to put in more hours on the phones or whatever it is. But maybe people that are getting out of that, like, how do you get back to the gym? How can you take care of yourself in a way that's
Well, the other thing
productive?
too is like I another arguably hot take. Most of the guys that claim, "Oh, I don't go to the gym because I'm working on my business," and they claim that they're sacrificing the gym for business, they're not. They're sacrificing the gym for something else,
Yeah.
right? Like they're sacrificing the gym so they can grow their business and still watch Netflix at night,
Mhm. Yes. True.
right?
True.
So it's like, are you really sacrificing like, are you really working so many hours, or it's just like you're not going to the gym so you can watch Netflix instead of going to the gym?
Yeah.
That's what I think
I
is most of the time.
I think so many people are mentally weak though, that they don't have that capacity at first.
Yeah.
At first, I think it comes.
That's definitely something that comes, yeah, like, I we talk about this all the time where it's like, what I originally thought was hard work is, like, nothing now,
Yeah, nothing now. Now,
right?
I
And, like,
think about
that's
that.
something that we see all the time with, like, people that progress, like, especially if, we have a client that starts with us at a bit of a lower stage, like, maybe they're only at, 5, 6K a month, and, we can get them if we get them up to 15, 30, 40K per month, one of the biggest things that they'll always say is, like, "I thought I was working hard at 5K a month." And
Yeah,
then it was, like, in the process of going from, like, 5 to, like, 25 or 30 or 40, they're like, "Oh, like, I had to work, like, 10 times harder than I actually was."
yeah, than you even thought was possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's another one of those big mindset shifts, like, work hours are not 9 to 5. If
Yeah.
anything, those are the chill hours of the day.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't know about you, but my best work gets done between, like, 4 AM and probably 6:30, and
Yeah.
then, like, 9:30 at night to midnight.
Me not 9:30 to night at 9:30 to midnight, but me for the morning for sure.
Yeah, I have a 8-month-old now,
Oh, yeah.
so my schedule is, like, all over the place.
Yeah.
So I get the early mornings. I like to work when it's quiet. I like to work when the rest of the world is quiet. My little one is asleep, like, she just went to bed. Um, so, like, those night hours are prime, and I can go to the gym in the morning time before anybody wakes up.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so obviously, I'm sure you're seeing a huge uptick of people taking on entrepreneurship now, right? Because now it's cool. Um, what would you say to somebody that's getting into business for the first time that wants to chase one of these online business models?
I would give them every single reason why they shouldn't do it, and how painful it is, and how everything sucks, and then if they still want, and if they're like, "Oh, okay then good."
Hmm. Okay,
Like,
so
I would
make
just
it.
give them every reason why they shouldn't do it, and then if they still wanna do it and they're arguing with me, then I'll be like, "Okay, then, you know, this is good for you."
And you think just because of the amount of things there are to learn?
I do this to people regularly. Like, if I go back to my hometown or, every once in a while, like, I'll run into people, and I post a lot on YouTube, it helps the business.
Mhm.
Like, one of the things that you wouldn't know because you're not, but I have hidden my stories from, like, all of my friends and, like, my family, like, all that kinda stuff.
Really?
Yeah, like, I don't really want that, like, I don't need them to know, what we're doing,
Yeah,
or how well we're doing. I just think that, when people know that you make $200,000 a month, it usually just creates more problems than it does good.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like, if your high school buddies know that you make $200,000 a month, like, it doesn't really get you anything, and it can potentially create problems or just, like, so I just keep it quiet. Um But what I was saying is despite that, there has been some people that have maybe they've gotten a hint. Maybe they hung out with a friend and they saw me in a Porsche or whatever the case may be, right? And so they'll ask me like, "Hey, I'm thinking of starting an SMMA," or "Hey, I'm thinking of starting anything too." And I'll just sit there and I'll spend 5 minutes telling them every single reason that they shouldn't.
It's like the best disqualifying sales call.
And then if they like, "Okay, maybe I think I'll do something else then I save them.
Yeah.
Because then that means when those things had to come up, they wouldn't have been able to get through it,
Yeah.
right? Now, um, to be completely honest with you, I've never had somebody that despite after telling them all of these problems, they've been like, "No, no, no, I get that. I still wanna do it. Show me." Because if somebody did that, I'd be like, "Okay, let's set up I will help you." Right?
Yeah.
And that's also probably the reason why there's such a low success rate with this stuff.
Yeah. I think most businesses, I mean, SMMA has a pretty high failure rate, but I think every business has a crazy high failure rate. Just you
Yeah, and
guys are
SMMA
const
also has a really high failure rate because it's such an easy level of entry.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was gonna head, and it's so public.
Yeah,
Like, lead generation became, like, the trendy business to start in the last 2 years,
yeah,
because you can get a domain, a power dialer, and buy a list of numbers for less than $1,000
yeah,
and just start going to work, and you could probably land a sale or 2. Even a half dumb cold caller could land a sale.
yeah.
Um Okay. I mean, I think that's a really good way to go about it. I think when I was first discovering SMMA, what was so attractive to me was one, the amount of people that are out there already doing it, because that shows proof of concept, right? Was never worried about competition. But what I didn't realize getting into it is how kind of flawed lead generation is as a whole.
Well, that's why we do what we do,
What do
and
you
we
mean?
always recommend that what we do if we work with an agency that comes on,
Hmm.
we recommend that they do for their clients the same thing that we do for them. Like, lead generation is flawed because, this is the structure that I'll do. In order to grow a business, right, you need to have something to sell, then you need to get eyeballs on that offer, then you need to convert that eyeballs into leads, then you need to convert the leads into either customers or calls, then you need to convert those calls into customers, then you need to convert those customers into customers that keep paying, and you need to be able to do this at scale,
Hmm.
right? So, if you do lead gen, you come in there and you might be able to get leads for them. But if they can't convert the leads, if they can't close the lead, if they can't convert or, if they can't close the leads, they can't service
Yeah.
the leads, the company fails, and then they blame you,
Yeah.
right? Now, if the flip, like, it is extremely rare that a company just needs leads because if they already have a good offer and they know how to close the leads and they know how to service the leads and they know how to manage people at scale and do so profitably, they probably also know how to generate leads. Right?
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
what happens is in this SMMA space is the only clients that we bring on are the clients that think their problem is that they don't know how to get leads, when the thing is that they have a shit offer, they don't know how to get leads, they don't know how to close the leads, they don't know how to build a team, and they don't know how to run their company, right? So if you go in as a SMMA,
Mhm.
whatever, for whatever, and you try and say like, "Okay, I'll get you leads," and it just doesn't work. So that's why what we'll always create, that what we'll do, and what we always recommend that people do, is a done for you slash done with you hybrid that solves all the subsequent problems that come with growing a company. That's why, when people come work with us, the first thing that we do is we structure their offer. Then we do lead generation and appointment setting for them. Then we help them implement our sales processes and our setting processes and our closing processes. Then we help people with their fulfillment and then their scaling and their accounting and their finances. And we help people solve every single problem in the business.
Okay. But it starts with kind of the attraction of leads, and then that's kind of like the hooking point, right?
What do you mean by that?
So all those other things are the things that you do are really the most important part, but what people think that they need is leads, so that's how you get them into the program in the first place.
Yeah, people will think that, well, that's the other thing too that we've noticed is that everybody believes that they're one problem being solved away from $1 million a day and sunshine and rainbows. Right? Everybody we
Yeah.
talk to, it's like, oh, if I could just get leads, I already know how to close. I already know how to service
Yeah.
clients.
Everybody's got a 90% closing rate, right?
Or, oh, I know how to get appointments. If I could just close them, I already know how to service them too, I would be making so much money. Or it's I already know how to set appointments and I already know how to close appointments. I just don't know how to service my clients, so they always churn. If I could service my clients, I would be making so much money, right? So people always have this fundamental belief that they're one problem away from millions of dollars in sunshine and rainbows. So one of the things that we'll always do with our sales process is with solutions like we have at our company, we solve in depth all three of those problems. Right. So what we'll do is on the sales call or whatever, we'll identify what their one belief is, or fundamentally one of the things that we'll do is we'll identify, okay, this person believes that if they could just set appointments, they would be making, millions of dollars in sunshine and rainbows. Now, obviously, we don't sell it like this. I'm just
Right.
oversimplifying it to get the point
Right, right,
across,
right.
right? Then we'll spend 80% of our pitch talking about how we can solve the most painful problem to them in this existing state, and then position everything else that we do in the company as simply the bonus. Right? So if you come to us and your biggest pain point is sales, the main points we'll talk about is our indoctrination sequences and how we warm up your leads for you to get them, easier to close. And then all of the sales process, and then how we'll install the sales process that's closed over $10 million for us, and how we can also place closers to solve that sales issue. And then we'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, yeah. And then in addition to that, we'll run your ads to get you appointments, and then we'll help you with fulfillment too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and it turns out your offer's not converting. Don't worry, we got you.
Yeah.
Oh, you're having issues with your finances. Don't worry, we got a thing for that.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. That makes so much sense. And I was definitely one of those people that thought I was one problem away.
Yeah.
Like
Everyone is.
100%. Yeah. And I think I can't even remember. I think the last time we actually formally spoke, I was still in your RSC program. Um, and the one thing I wanted to kind of get out there is after my stuff had just after my contract had expired with you guys, I stayed in the school, and then you took a whole bunch of hate. You took a whole bunch of BS kind of out of nowhere. Some kid put up a YouTube video, um, and I think what you just said resonates is going to resonate so deeply with everybody because one, I was in the exact same boat. I never really got mad at you or your program because I kind of went into it knowing that what I was getting into was a
Mhm.
community. And if I'm being honest with you, I got that. I have friends now outside of your program that I talk to on a daily basis that are growing businesses. I got kind of what I was looking for.
Mhm.
But something that I thought you did really well, and I want to commend you for it, is when you got all that, nothing changed on your end. Your videos came out on time. Your comments went out as they normally did. Nothing seemed to really change.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, like I'm not sure if I would be able to stay on track like that.
That was the most impactful moment of our business. That was when we decided that because the problem that we had back then was that we were just coaching then,
Hmm.
and, like, it's here's the way that I put it. Right now, we have our marketer, his name's Xander, who runs ads for all of our clients.
Hmm.
I can spend 2, 3, 4 hours a day working with Xander, getting Xander really good, and then he can do it 100 times for clients. Versus what I used to do was trying to help 100 people at one time by spending 5 minutes with them on an inner circle call.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't like the coaching model. Like, and the other thing too is during our price points and our marketing and stuff, a lot of the clients that we had were helpless.
Yeah.
Um, like, people that have come in and like their biggest problem is like they need to stop jerking off.
Yeah. 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 I saw a lot of that, or like literally have never used screen share before.
Yeah. Like,
It,
and it was just like, this person is so like far from where they need to be. And they like that was the thing that I remember happening multiple times where I was just like, sometimes would come in and this is why like there's so many things that I didn't like about the coaching offer.
yeah.
But it was just like, I wish that you just like spent 12 months in business and then came to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It was too
Um,
easy to join. And one of the things that you've mastered, I'm comfortably put that word on it, is how to market. So when you put an offer out there and you have a good marketing team behind it, you're gonna get people in that are unqualified.
Yeah, that was, yeah, that's definitely another thing too. Like, like now people get any client gets Dylan's marketing now,
Good. Took control.
and they're ripping. Like,
Yeah.
if you check out my Instagram stories, like anything like that, um, yeah, like that is every entrepreneur has, typically entrepreneurs will always have like one strength.
Mhm.
Um, my strength has definitely been marketing. Um, and so yeah, it wasn't like now we have a full team and whatnot, but definitely we were, especially in those earlier stages, I really did have a bit of a cult like following.
Yeah.
This is kind of some crazy stuff that happened.
Yeah. It was cool to watch. I was still working construction at the time, and I'd catch your videos every day. You and Matt Shields' videos go back and forth.
Oh yeah.
And I watched this, I wanna say maybe you had, like, 7,000 followers on YouTube at the time, maybe a
Hmm.
little bit less, and then it hit 10, and then it was, like, 15 in a week, and I was like, "Oh, shit. Something happened here." And you launched the I don't remember exactly what the offer was, but I just kinda watched this all go up, and it just seems like it all happened so fast.
Hmm.
And, with that coaching offer, nobody realizes what a hand-holding gig it is, and I
Yeah.
think I think it just I think it just became too much.
Yeah, it was definitely like well, yeah, like that was another thing too that I didn't realize at that time was it was like um it was a major hand holding,
Yeah.
right? And it was just like, yeah, there's a lot of things that we definitely had to learn through that. Like it was like we were having people that were like closing over Discord,
Dude, that's kinda sweet.
like
It's
no
kinda
sales
cool.
call, nothing too, and like um yeah, like but again, like the lessons that I learned today are the reason why, we literally pump out a case. We have like the last 2 to 3 weeks this month in probably the toughest month of the year,
Mhm.
probably been averaging close to a case study per day.
Damn, that's such a cool metric.
And we sign about 30 to 40 clients per month right now. And it
Yeah.
wasn't until, and the main change is like when we went, say, screw the coaching. We're only working with you if you're doing at least 5 to 10K per month at minimum,
Yeah.
and we're just doing it for you. Because instead of trying to coach 100 people, I coach the 4 guys on my marketing team to go and install the same systems for our clients.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so you literally just handle the marketing, set the appointment even, or that's on them?
Yeah, so if especially if it's an ads funnel, their prospects will self-book with them,
Cool. Cool.
and then they'll go through our indoctrination sequences, so, like, VSLs, like, all that kinda stuff as well too.
Yeah, yeah, drip campaigns, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And that way you're able to control all the deliverables.
Yeah. Yeah, like, we'll get, like our average cost per book call amongst all of our clients is, like, 40, $50.
Dude, dude, damn, dude.
Like, so our clients will be booking, like, 60 to 90 appointments per month on these paid ads, right? And so
Solid.
with that, like, that's why they're closing, like, $10,000 a week,
Yeah, that's
especially and
wild.
I went in and created their offer for them and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
right now it's really good, and when we first started this, like, we were not getting results like this because at the end of the day, it was a coaching offer and, like, me just showing people how to do it as opposed to just doing it for them.
yeah.
Um,
So are you
yeah.
working with any industry?
B2B.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay. So as long as you're selling to businesses,
Yeah.
but within any B2B business.
Yeah, like, we work with AI automations agencies, we work with
Okay.
ad agencies, we work with content agencies, we work with all sorts of agencies is typically, um, the main thing. It'll be some form of an agency structure, but yeah, really any form of service delivery.
Okay.
The biggest thing that we're looking for is that, like, it has to be something that they can, typically provide um, outcome ba we can make an outcome-based offer for them, right?
Like a
If it's
value-based
something
offer, you
like
meaning?
yeah, like we don't I won't work with somebody or I'll make somebody change what they're doing if they come to me and they're like, "Hey, I manage social media accounts." Because it's like the only people that are gonna hire like, we can't create an ad, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, I'll guarantee, we'll be able to get you more customers by managing your social media account." That's more of like, go on Upwork and apply to jobs there,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
isn't something that we're doing. But if you
Okay.
run any form of lead gen, if you do any form of outbound sales, closer placements, anything where you can directly impact the front end revenue of another business, in any industry, it's pretty easy for us to get results.
That's great, man. Well, where can people get a hold of you? Where can they find you? Where can they book a call with you?
If you search up Dylan Wilson on pretty much any Instagram, I should come up. Um, yeah, that's just probably the easiest way to YouTube, Instagram, X, search up Dylan Wilson. You'll find me.
Perfect. Perfect. And what's the website?
It's catalystholdings.io.
Perfect. And then something I always like to ask of guests like yourself, if one piece of advice that you could give to anybody trying to get to the next level, whether in their business or your life, what would it be?
The one thing that you're afraid of doing is the thing that if you do, you will get to that next level.
Yeah.
Like, if you're at 15K a month and you get good client results, but you're afraid to, make that really strong offer and spend 3 grand a month on ads, like, that's what's stopping you from getting to 100K a month. And like a lot of the times, like because that's our bread and butter, like, so many clients, they'll come to us, they're like 15K a month, they have good service delivery, but maybe they're spending like $1,000 a month on ads and they have like an okay offer, but they don't want to offer a refund in case something goes wrong or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's like they have low close rates and all that kind of stuff. We'll just kind of, a lot of time we'll just slap them around a bit, say, no, like, let's restructure your offer and let's triple your ad budget. And they triple their company or they 10x their company in the next 6 months.
So the one thing that you're afraid of doing is the one thing holding you back from making what you want to make.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it, man. That's solid advice. Well, hey, thank you so much for taking an hour out of your day to come hang out and spread some knowledge. It's been cool to catch up with you, man. It's next time won't be so long in between.
Run the show.